Welcome to another edition of our Facebook interview with a candidate with Alexander City Promise Facebook page. Wanted to take a moment to say please continue to like our page, continue to share these wonderful interviews with our candidates, and if nothing else, get informed, get educated, and go out and vote on August the 23rd. We have a mayoral forum coming up on August the 8th at Betty Carroll Graham Center. And now I have the particulars of the council forum that'll be on August the 11th at the Betty Carroll Graham Center. So please, if you have an opportunity, go out and see about information on both of those particular forums, and of course always come back here to find out more information and get a little deeper with the candidate. Today I have a new friend, Steve Crowe, who is going for Council District 1, and I have to say my wife jumped up and wanted to immediately hug your neck, so that's a positive thing.
We never turn them down.
Never turn a good hug down. But, we didn't know each other prior to this, but I'd heard a lot about you prior to this.
I hope it was good.
Through my wife, yes. Your daughter, Karen Hayes, I believe,
that's correct.
Works with my wife. So you got an in from me on that one. But, I did want to say thank you for coming. And
My
thank you
pleasure.
for talking to the individuals.
Thank you for having me here.
And let's start off with that infamous question. You're knocking on someone's door, and you come up and you're giving them your 30-second spiel about who you are and all of that. Why don't you tell us a little bit about your background?
First of all, my name is Steve Crowe. I was born and raised here in Alexander City. I am married, of course, to Emmett Dobbs. We've been together for 51 years.
Bless
Very
Miss
proud
Dobbs.
of that.
Good woman.
She's my best friend.
Best friend, good.
I have two daughters, and one works at Russell Medical Center. The other works, as you just mentioned, at Central Alabama Community College. She's been there for some time now. She really enjoys her work. I have three granddaughters that are just wonderful, and the eye of their big daddy's heart, I'll tell you. I've received my education here in Alexander City. First of all, I had 10 years that I was living on Russell Mill Village,
Okay.
and I attended Russell Elementary School. From there, Benjamin Russell High School, I graduated, and I was fortunate enough to get an athletic scholarship to Troy University, which at that time was called Troy State University.
Okay.
I received a Bachelor of Science degree there, and in Business Administration and Marketing. My professional career went into banking business for 35 years, and 24 of those years as bank president.
Okay.
And I am a person that loves our community. I remember so well when Russell was doing so well here, but we can't dwell in the past. We've got to move forward.
Okay. Now, you kind of touched on it a little bit, but let me ask the more direct question. Why is Steve Crowe running?
I'm running because we have issues in our city government right now that don't seem to be solved. I think I have the skills and experience that can help us. Of course, I would be just one vote, but I believe I can help bring everybody together, and we can work together to make this a better place to live, a better place for my grandchildren to grow up, to stay here and work and enjoy this community the way I have.
Well, for those people that don't know Steve Crowe and they're just learning your background and they're just understanding why you're running, why should they vote for you?
I believe, in my mind, that I have experienced a lot in the business world, and the city is about business, running a good business. Accountability. We have the issues now before us. They either haven't been addressed or they're being put off. I can't see us continuing on that path.
Okay. And we'll get to the issues a little bit later. But kind of on the same line before we get to the issues, every person that I've ever talked to that's in city government or whatever level of government has a vision that drives them. What is your vision for the city or kind of the city's future?
Once we've resolved some of the issues that we will get into later, I can see our city going nowhere but up.
Okay.
I really believe this town has so many things to offer. It has opportunities to attract new business. It has opportunities to help existing businesses. Statistics show that small business are the largest employer in this country. And it's no different in Alexander City. Sure, it's great to have the big industry with all the workers, but that's putting your eggs in one basket. We had that, we experienced it. This town has so much going for it, and it's a shame that we don't capitalize on it.
When we get to the economic development portion, that's one of the things I want to talk about a little bit more is the big fish versus the little fish mentality.
Right.
But just a little bit more on the position itself. What do you know about the position of city council? What are they supposed to do?
A city councilman, as I understand it, is the legislative part of the city government. They pass ordinances, pass policies, make recommendations. I believe they hire 6 people or appoint at least 6 people. The city councilman as a group votes on who is going to be city clerk. They appoint the city chief of police, the city fire department, who's head of that. They also hire the financial officer.
Correct.
Okay? Also, they appoint who's going to be the city attorney and the city municipal judge.
Okay. With your vast background in business and your knowledge of what the city council position is, how are the two going to marry together?
A lot of the principles are the same.
Okay.
When you're dealing with people, and I dealt with a number of individuals, and each individual is different, and you have to deal with them differently.
Right.
But in my case, in my background, I was just the captain of the ship. As I told every employee that came through my bank, I may not have hired them personally, but I always interviewed any new employee. And I told them this: I will be only as successful as you will let me be.
Okay. Okay.
That's my philosophy.
All right. Well, now let's talk a little bit about some of the issues. And I guess the first question that I would throw out to you are, what are some of the issues and successes that you see in the city that you could improve on?
One of the biggest issues that we can get into is the fact that we haven't had an audit in 2 years. Our financial position is in disarray. We have now fired our financial officer for the second time. I believe she's going to have a hearing, a closed hearing, which was an executive session Monday, with her attorney and the city's attorney. We have got to hire someone for that position. It's vacant right now. We need someone very quickly if we're going to be successful. And it's heartbreaking to know that we can't account for money. It's missing. We're told through the media that all of that has been cleared. Now, let me tell you, as a banker, if all that's been cleared, where are the checks that didn't clear individuals' banks?
Interesting question. I never thought about that.
Think about it.
Good point. Good point. All right. So, how would you improve upon those? I mean, those are the issues and the situations, but how would you actually improve upon some of those issues?
I believe it's necessary that you put into place monitors. First of all, you're going to put in procedures and dual control, and make sure that they're on a periodic basis, make sure they're being carried out.
Okay.
In the banking business, if every teller and officers handle money.
Safety checkoffs.
Safety checkoffs.
Yep.
You've got to have a clear understanding with the people that handle taxpayers' money.
Now, one of the key pieces going forward, in the past, jobs has been one of the main drivers for
Yes, I do.
when people decided to run for office. I'm a big person in economic development. Tell me a little bit about what your plan is for economic development and what you personally think your role would be in economic development.
Economic development is very complicated.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to digress a little bit and tell you I was on the ground floor when 1998, when the economic development process began. It was at that time, we had no organization, but it did grow. And I was on the economic development board until I retired. I saw it from various ways. I saw that the Chamber of Commerce was trying their best to do what they could to attract business. I saw the city do that. I saw the economic development. There's three entities that are trying to attract business. They've got to work together. They have to communicate, and they have to have a concerted effort amongst themselves. Otherwise, it won't work. We have people that come to Alexander City incognito. That is, they come not announcing themselves.
Right.
They come into our community, and I hate to say it, but they're going to see a lot of trash on the street. We got to do something about that. I don't have the answer right now. But they might go to Hardee's, they might go to McDonald's or somewhere, or go to a coffee shop over in the corner, and they may just listen. So we as citizens have to be positive about our community. I am very conscious of it, because if you see a stranger, you need to put a positive light on Alexander City. These
Okay.
people are scoping us out, and we've got to do a better job. I think with the city government and the chamber and the economic development process of Don McClellan's group, if we all work together, we can be successful.
Now, what would you do as a council person to help that situation along, in your opinion?
Well, with experience in sitting on that board also, it will give me a leg up. I think communication is the key.
Okay.
I think communication is definitely the key. And if it means you have to get together someplace, somewhere, whatever, I think that is the key to making it successful.
Now, you had said something earlier, and you had alluded to something that I'm a big proponent of. Do you believe in the big fish as far as business, the little fish as far as business, or some mixture of both that needs to come here from an economic development situation?
I think, Sean, it is a necessity that we have a mixture.
Okay.
Because let's look at it this way. If you got an employer that comes in and hires 2,000 people and things go bad for them corporately, there's 2,000 jobs lost.
Mm-hmm.
But if you got somebody in here that's having very good success in their business, and we've got some good entrepreneurs out there, and I'm very proud to see it in our community. If they've got 15 employees, it's not such a big impact as a
Right.
big loss.
Okay. What is your plan to support some of our infrastructure needs?
Right now, infrastructure is not that good. We are under mandate, I understand, from the Environmental Protection Agency to raise $7 million to upgrade our sewer system.
Mm-hmm.
We can't move forward with infrastructure until we get all that resolved. So it would be wrong to go ahead now and try to project what we could do in the future. But we've got to take care of what is wrong now.
Okay. This is almost like a softball question for you in your banking background. What is your plan, or what would you see necessary to help get us out of our financial issues in the city?
Again, let's digress a little bit to what I said earlier. We've got to know where we were
Mm-hmm.
until we can know where we are. And I think straightening up that issues with the money missing or the golf course, or others. There's others that have been mentioned in the media. Once we've done that, then hold on, we can move.
Okay. There's been talk multiple times about a forensic audit and all of that kind of stuff.
But Sean, we've had 2 audits. Now, have you seen any results from that? I haven't.
Well, I mean,
That's costing our taxpayers money.
and I guess that's the question. Do you, having your financial background, do you see a need for a forensic audit?
Definitely.
Okay.
Definitely.
Um,
Now, as a banker, I can tell you, I've been through FDIC examination.
Oh, yeah.
I've been through the Federal Reserve. I've been through the Comptroller of Currency and State Banking Department. And listen, they'll tell you what's wrong, and you have to answer it.
otherwise, you won't be around.
And otherwise, I'll be picking up grass at Maxwell Field. That's a federal prison.
I got you. All right. So, how would you describe your governing or management style?
My management style is quite simple. I'm going to point you in a direction and ask you to do your job. I said earlier, I'm as successful as the employees I work with will allow me to be. I will always coach privately and give accolades publicly. One thing I have not noticed in our city is we don't give anybody a whole lot of credit for a good job done. I'd love to see an employee of the month, something like that. Let's pat these folks on the back. They have a difficult job. They have to put bread on the table.
This is true. It still boils down to
But
being a job.
my management style is, another connotation would be an open door policy.
Okay. What type of leadership and communication should the people expect from you when you become councilperson?
I have thought about that a good bit since we talked last, and the simplest way I can address that is, I will always tell you what you need to know, not what you want to hear.
Okay. And from a communication, you brought up communication in several of the pieces that we've already talked about. What would communication look like from you from the council seat?
I realize that 6 people are not always going to agree.
Correct.
That forms good government. But someone needs to step forward and negotiate and bring everybody together and meet somewhere in the middle.
Okay.
I haven't seen that. And I dare say a lot of voters out there haven't either.
Okay. What have you done to help the city itself prior to running for city council?
Do we have time?
We got time. Brief summary would be nice, but we have
I'm
time.
keeping myself busy now that I'm retired. I'm a volunteer
Okay.
with auxiliary volunteers at Russell Medical Center, in which I've just been elected president, and it's working with a bunch of great people.
Okay.
I'm also the chairman of the Special Financing Authority of Russell Medical Center.
Okay.
I have to sign their indebtedness. That scares me. But I am very proud of the fact that I've been an active Lions Club member for 45 years.
45 years.
45 years.
Look, they put up with you for 45 years.
Yes, sir, they have. And I'm thankful that all of the good things that we have done
You've done a
for
lot
this
of good.
community,
That's
and
correct.
I'm past president there also. I was on the first board of directors of the Alex City Educational Foundation.
Okay.
I was chairman of the Retired Senior Volunteer Program. I was advisory board of Arise. You remember that?
No.
Well, some of the folks out there will.
Okay.
I was, I was on the board of Camp Aska for 14 years, and several of those years I was treasurer.
Know about Camp Aska.
You know
That's
about
awesome.
Camp Aska. Well, a camp you might not know about, I was on advisory board for Camp Seal Harris, which is a juvenile diabetes camp for kids,
Okay.
and very worthwhile. They used to have their meetings at Camp Aska. I was on the advisory board of Junior Achievement. That's
I
been
know
a
about
long
that.
time.
Yeah,
that's
that's
very, very good program. I have served on the American Red Cross for 9 years. I was on the board of Camp Aska. No, excuse me, I missed that before. Camp campfire.
Okay.
In fact, I woke up one day and I said, my kids have moved on from campfire. What am I doing here? But it was worthwhile. Help build that camp that's over there in the Sportsplex right now.
Well, that's good.
There are others, but I'll just stop there.
Okay, no problem. What would you do to change the negative press that seems to have befallen our city in the last 4 years?
Well, let me state something that kind of come surprise to me. I see all the negative press, but I'm knocking on doors every day asking for votes. And it's surprising to me the number of people that don't take the local paper. First of all, they say, I didn't know you was running. And then I said, well, I guess you've seen some of the negative stuff in the paper. No, we don't take the paper. And I know Kenneth, if he sees this, he'll kill me, or try to. But the fact is, it is not helping our community one iota. To change it, we have to change what's going on in our city right now.
Okay.
And that's what basically I am telling everybody that I see. If they vote for me, I will do my best to change things. If that means working with whoever, let's do it.
Okay. So more of a cooperative type
Cooperative.
situation. Okay. How do you see diversity in City Hall? And I guess within that same question, is there diversity in City Hall?
I have not visited City Hall that often.
Okay.
I know that we need diversity. I'm a firm believer in diversity. And let me go back a little bit. When I was in the banking business, we started out having sessions or coaching sessions with diversity and other items related to banking. Then the computer age came. And then every 90 days, we had a list of subjects we had to take on the computer. You had to pass it or you had to take it over. Diversity was a very important part of that. So was sexual harassment, other things. If diversity in City Hall is going to change, it's going to have to be at the hiring stage. That is the mayor and his directive. They're the ones that hire people in it. I mentioned earlier what city councilmen, their responsibilities in hiring. Yes, we can give guidance, but we don't actually do the everyday hiring.
Correct. Okay. What do you see? A lot of people believe that just because people are in business that they understand the money side of government. So do you see, is there a difference between corporate accounting versus a governmental accounting?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. Corporate accounting, you're in business for profit.
Yes.
In government,
Look, yes.
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 I could tell you all the things that I had to deal with as a banker. But people out there are not going to understand return on equity, return on assets, and capital allocation, and bad debt, and so forth. Government receives money by taxation, and we have fees for services that we provide: water, sewer, electrical, gas, and that money has to be offset in a budget, and you can't spend more than you have coming in.
Seems simple, doesn't it?
Well, it's not that simple.
It's not that simple. And it leads into the next question. Obviously, with your banking background, you have experience with budgets and things of that nature. And so it's almost kind of strange for me to even ask you this question, but would you feel comfortable helping? Well, I guess the question to take it to another level with budgets is, what do you see that we need to potentially do in the budget to make us solvent from year to year?
We've got to have the input of supervisors within the city. We've got to have realistic numbers. We've got to have good projections of income. Got to have it. We don't know the intricacies at this point, but I would be delighted to get involved. I had to do several budgets, and I'll tell you a little funny. When we became part of a holding company, which is an entity that owns banks, okay? First budget I did, they sent it back. want more. I sent back another one. And we're talking about a lot of line items that you have to budget. Sent it back a second time. They sent it back to me. Well, it's not enough. Well, I got real brave and said, what do you want it to be? So we have got to have a vision in the city. Where do we want to be? And how are we going to get there? If it means we have to have further taxation, and God forbid that, but we need to come up with some innovative idea how to attract people to Alexander City to buy goods and services, to come and visit and buy groceries, all those things. It mounts up, and that's what our future is going to rely on. We have one of the prettiest lakes in the United States, and people from out of state come all the time to enjoy the beauty of that lake and the recreation. We need to capitalize on that somehow.
Last question.
Yes, sir.
Do you see the city as unified, and what would you do to continue that practice or make a change?
I can say unequivocally it is not unified.
Okay.
I've knocked on some doors and people are upset. And I might be one of them the way things are going. But I don't see as much negative stuff as I had anticipated.
Okay. What do you mean by that, I guess?
Well, we need to do this or we need to do that. I don't get a lot of, well, our roads hadn't been fixed or, this kind of stuff. What are we going to do about Alexander City? We've got to be a better community. We've got to have a good place for kids to be educated. We've got to have a good place for jobs. And that's one of the things that I hear, jobs. We need something in this town, Sean, that will pay better than minimum wage. And that's probably going to be a high-tech job. They're out there. We just need to grasp them and get them here.
Okay. Well, in every situation, you're standing at the door, they're in the doorway, and you have that last moment to make a pitch to them. Why don't you take a second and make a last-ditch effort to the person that's standing out there and listening to you right now?
I would say this: if you're satisfied with the way our city government is functioning right now, then don't vote for me. But if you're ready for a change in a positive way, I solicit and covet your votes. Thank you.
Well, once again, that was Steve Crowe. He is running for District 1 council person. I've enjoyed listening to him. I hope you have too. Continue to watch for our other interviews that are coming up on our Alexander City Promise Facebook page. Mr. Crowe, as always, it was a pleasure.
Thank you.
And we will see you the next time. Thank you.